Sports Minutes with Raushan.
Money FM 89.3. It's time for Sports Minutes with me, Raushan. Today we are shining the spotlight on a lesser known but fiercely competitive sport, wheelchair rugby. It's fast, it's full contact, and it's full of heart. And joining me in the studio are two very special guests. Sheikh Danial, the Vice President of the Wheelchair Rugby Association of Singapore, who's not only a passionate athlete, but also an award-winning performer who goes by the stage name Will Smith, and is all about blending art, advocacy and sport. Alongside him is Edgar Cheong, who's been part of the wheelchair rugby community since 2016 after a spinal cord injury in 2011 left him disabled. Together, they'll help us understand what this sport is about, how it's changing lives, and what to expect from the Singlife Wheelchair Rugby Cup, which is happening on the 12th of April right here in Singapore. Daniel, Edgar, a huge welcome to Sports Minutes. How are you doing?
I'm feeling fine.
I need coffee, but I'll sort that out later on.
We all need coffee all the time, right? Let's talk about rugby. To Edgar, firstly, you were just 18 when life took a dramatic turn in 2011. Can you take us back to that moment and how 5 years later you found yourself as an athlete in this unique sport?
It was actually quite an interesting story because it was the lieu of Hari Raya Haji, and then was at my friend's party. It was a spinal cord injury due to an accident. So I dived into a pool that was too shallow actually, and then that caused my injury. So I think in 2016, when this sport was finally introduced in Singapore, it was also something that was very interesting. Was first introduced to it via some of my therapists. They were saying like, hey Edgar, I think this sport will be actually quite interesting for you. Maybe you go down and try. At that time, I think I tried swimming already and table tennis. It was really not very interesting in my opinion. So when the opportunity came to actually try wheelchair rugby, I took that chance. I decided to go there. And at the very first wheelchair rugby sort of meeting or community session, I was so large that they couldn't get a chair to fit me. So I had to, I think, wait about a month for them to actually prepare another chair. And that's how the story goes.
Firstly, Edgar, I've got huge respect for your bravery to fight on despite what was such a tragic card to be dealt with all the way back when you were just 17, right? Daniel, to bring you in, you built a name as Will Smith on stage and now you're a leader in sport. What drew you to wheelchair rugby and what does being in this community give you that music doesn't?
For me, I think it's the competitiveness. I've always been very competitive because I have 6 siblings, and we always argue about who's number one and who's the winner, who's the loser, even for little petty things. I guess that have shaped and developed my competitive spirit. And when it comes to sport, I watch football a lot. So this is as close as I can get to playing football. And it's no different really. You have one ball, you have 8 players arguing and chasing the ball. So I guess it makes sense for me. And being in this community, I feel a sense of belonging. I feel like I do not have to explain myself why I'm here, what happened, who did what, when and how. We all just knew, and somewhat accessibility, access requirements are first nature rather than, typically we need to ask among ourselves. It's a given thing. So I really enjoy being with the community.
I absolutely love that, and that's the power of sport, right, in terms of bringing communities together regardless of any shortcomings we all may have, right? I can't believe it's just the first 2 questions of this interview because I'm already so inspired in terms of how much you all stand for. Edgar, I want to bring you in here. You talked about joining the sport 8-9 years ago. How different was the scene back in 2016 to where we are now in 2025, because we are on the cusp of a first official event happening on the 12th of April?
Well, I think when it started in 2016, right, we had, I think, about 10 to 12 chairs. Most of them, I think, were second-hand chairs. So generally, the lifespan of a wheelchair is 2 years. These wheelchairs have been around for, I think, 4 years before they were given or sold to us already. Up till now, these chairs are still existing. They've been broken and welded over and over again. But just by the number of chairs, we've actually grown that number of chairs to, I think, about 30 to 40. So that's almost 2 times already, 2 to 3 times. And also the players, the people that have helped the sport have also come and gone. But I think overall they have contributed to the sport, and I'm really appreciative of all the things that they've given to that sport. I think with this new chapter that's coming up, I think it's paving the way to some of our aspirations in the coming years, such as I think the medium-term goal is 2029 Singapore ASEAN Para Games. So I think this is a very good first step. We've been slowly training and ramping up for it, and I hope by the time we reach that year, we will be ready to take a medal for Singapore.
No, I love that. I will dive deeper into those foundations that are being laid for 2029 and beyond, right? But Daniel, to bring you in as Vice President, right? You talked about the community and the sense of belonging that this sport has given you. But now, in your role as Vice President, you're trying to shape the sport's future as well. Why did you take on the leadership role, and what is it about changing the game that drives you?
That's a lot to unpack, but I think when you care about something so much, you become overly obsessive to a point. But all in all, in a spirit of looking after. What my concern is, while we are here, my current players, my current exco members, we come from a place where we want to do the best. But as someone who sits somewhere in the exco community, I think about the longevity. I think about the future after I retire or whatsoever. So the longevity is what I'm more keen on building. 10, 15 years. How can we make it a system that would run and let it grow, you know? So although the exco team may be small, but we've taken a lot of feedback from our players, from our ground up, from our ground, to figure out how do we work the mechanics, how do we ensure that it is sustainable, how do we ensure that, like any other sports, how can we ensure that tomorrow is promised? So these are the questions that we always ponder. Sometimes I got nightmares in my sleep. Wheelchair rugby 2030. How?
Don't listen to him. He kena arrow. That's why he's vice president now.
Arrow or not, he clearly burns with passion when he outlines his vision like that. I take your point about nightmares. We all have some nightmares. But I have to ask you this, Daniel. In your current role, right, what's been the most rewarding aspect of your role?
Serving. Because unlike Will Smith, the artist, he served for himself. It is very selfish in a way. But with wheelchair rugby, I carry the many people's dreams, expectation, aspiration, and future, because they have placed their time, they have placed their commitment, they have placed their heart and soul with us. When we play, I can see that they are pushing it 101%. So I think it is a responsibility for me to look after, and being given that opportunity is an honor, you know. So serving people, serving my community, serving my athletes.
I've already used the term huge respect. I'm going to say it again. Huge respect for what you stand for, Daniel. Edgar, bringing you in, it's time to talk sport now. You've outlined having the chairs welded, mended together time and again. I'm guessing, despite it being wheelchair rugby, it's still a full-on sport. Can you, for the benefit of the listeners, tell us how's this sport played?
Wheelchair rugby is actually played four-a-side. But the interesting thing is that unlike, let's say, your soccer or some of the other sports that you play, you actually play four-a-side, but you bring in a 12-person team. And then there are an unlimited number of substitutions. So you can imagine you're actually playing 3 teams for one match.
Oh, wow.
That's I think, one of the key, most surprising things about the sport. So actually, it's really high intensity. It's full-on contact. You'll hear metal on metal crashing during competitions. But yet, at the same time, a lot of people will be, I think, quite surprised to know that injuries from the day-to-day don't actually happen all that often. In community plays, in amateur plays, and even in, I think, the tournament this weekend that we're going to have, you will not see any injuries. Even if there are minor injuries, well, nobody's going out to fall off their chair and things like that. And also, we have a lot of safety precautions put into place. So, for all those people out there who are actually looking for a sport to play but are actually daunted by the fact that wheelchair rugby sounds really violent, not to worry. This doesn't happen. Falls actually only happen really at the highest levels, like the Paralympics or the World Game.
No, Edgar, thank you for laying it out like that and setting the scene for us. I guess the only injuries are broken hearts, because we'll be crowning winners and losers. But when it comes to sport, everybody is a winner. no-brainer, really. Danial, I want to bring you in here. The Singlife Wheelchair Rugby Cup happening this Saturday, 12th of April, will feature teams made up of both able-bodied and disabled players. What kind of statement does that make about the sport in terms of inclusivity?
First of all, shout out to Singlife. Thank you for making it happen. Dreams are only dreams, but when you wake up, you got to do it. And Singlife is there helping us to achieve this dream. Coming back again, we are changing the playground. We are changing the rules. We are setting up a space where people can participate equally competitive in a competitive spirit. Again, I do like to mention, I mention competitiveness quite a lot because it is the fundamental factor of why we play sports. So bridging the gap between able and person with disability in one ground, playing equally, that is something we boast about, you know. So we have come to a point where we understand how can we find a universal ground, to be honest, that once you are all seated on the chair, sometimes we forgot who is who and who is what until the game ends. When you forget about who is who and who is what, it has become a moment where you feel like equality is there. We want a game, we want a sport that is not just for us, but we welcome everyone and all walks of life. Come and play with us competitively as well. And again, long term, people know that they can participate. They know that you can join a tournament, you can play a game without feeling like they have to walk on eggshells.
No, I absolutely love that. It's all about equality and breaking barriers. Huge shout out to Singlife for empowering you guys to go out there and achieve your dreams. Heart-shaped signs all around in the studio at the moment. Edgar, you talked about that goal of the 2029 ASEAN Para Games, right? That's, for now, the ultimate goal, right? What else is the association working on for tangible markers to achieve the 2029 goal?
I think there are several steps that we are taking. One step, I think, next month in May, I think we're going to Malaysia, probably to do some training with the Malaysian team. And if I'm not wrong, the Japanese team may be coming down as well. The Japanese, I think, are right now world number 2. Yes, so trying to learn from them, learn what makes them tick, what makes them world number 2. Also, I think that is one of the preparations that we are having. We are also starting back up, I think, some of our strengthening and conditioning sessions that will be coming up very soon. And I think this is all in effort of preparing not just for the Singlife tournament, but for the longer vision of 2029 ASEAN Para Games.
No, I absolutely love that. Danial, I want to give you the chance now. You've spoken about how much you stand for, your committee stands for, all your players, your peers stand for. Right? I want you to talk to the listeners and tell them what they can do to make that 2029 goal come true.
Well, if you have time, come down to our training sessions. We are at Choa Chu Kang Sports Indoor Level 2. We play every Tuesday and Thursdays. If you have any form of expertise in terms of sports science, in terms of mechanical work, or just want to volunteer, do come down and be there. We'll welcome you with an open arms. But if you do, or someone who is eligible to play, who wants to do something, wants to try and play wheelchair rugby, come by. We are there.
No, I love that. I think Singlife have got the ball rolling in terms of the Wheelchair Rugby Association, but change starts with each and every one of you listening in to give these guys more power, more passion to go out and achieve what they want to achieve. Edgar, final question for you. Looking ahead to the Rugby Cup on the 12th of April, that's happening at North London College School. What can listeners look forward to on the pitch beyond the action?
I think what listeners can look on to, so do come down, do take a look, because I think what you will see is an understanding between players, between persons with disabilities and persons without disabilities. And also then you will start to see that, hey, we are not so different after all, especially in a sport like wheelchair rugby where people with disabilities, people without disabilities, men, women, all get to take part and play on the exact same pitch. So I think that's a very big leveler that I hope others will be able to experience as well.
I love that. Leveling the playing field. That's what this is all about. Danial, I'll let you have the final word on this. I've spoken to you in your capacity as Vice President. I've spoken to you in your capacity as a player of the sport. Talk to me as Will Smith. Give me a rap, beatbox, whatever you want to call it. I want that artist to come through just to give the listeners a reason to join you at the event on the 12th of April.
He just put me in a corner already. Okay, can I do a beatbox instead?
You can can do anything you like, sir.
Oh my God, I did not warm up for this. Okay, here we go.
Wow. I think we can all clap for that brilliant performance. Sports Minutes exclusive. I've never had a beatboxer on the show before. Thank you so much, Danial, for doing that. Any shout out to the listeners to come support the team on the 12th of April?
If you are listening and you have time and you have passion and you like to see groundbreaking moments and high impact games, come down to our Singlife Cup. For more information, you can check out our Instagram at Singapore Wheelchair Rugby or the Hornets Wheelchair Rugby. More information will be there. So, see you soon. Oh, and also, I believe after the games, you can get on the chair and pass the ball around and give a 5-minute tryout. So, that as well.
Wow, absolutely. And everything Danial said didn't convince you already. Entry to the competition is free. The Singlife Wheelchair Rugby Cup 2025 taking place on Saturday, 12th of April at the North London College School right here in Singapore. Google it. Follow them on Instagram. Edgar, Danial, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you so much for serving as such an inspiration, not just for me, but for our listeners as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sports Minutes on Money FM 89.3.